Welcome back, do-it-yourselfers. We've got a 2014 Honda Civic that needs a new starter, and this particular model has a very interesting placement of the starter. There's about 3 different ways that you could remove the starter, one from the top, one from the bottom, and one from the side. And I'm gonna go ahead and look around and see which one is best for me and guide you through the whole process. First thing we're gonna do is go ahead and unlock it and get that hood right open. With the hood open, we're gonna go ahead and remove the negative cable here from the battery. So just get a 10mm and a ratchet. With it loose, now we can go ahead and just, there you go. No more power to the system. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove it from right here. You're just gonna pull upward here, just like that. And then you're gonna go ahead and move this out of the way so it doesn't accidentally touch the battery while you're working. Remember, you may be shaking the engine about, so if you just leave it laying here, it has a chance of touching that negative post. I'm gonna go ahead and raise up the car and see if I can take apart the starter with taking apart a minimal amount of parts on the car, because I live in the Rust Belt. In order to remove the starter and do it from the side, we're going to go ahead and lift the car, and you do that from the main front jack point. The Honda Civic has it right here. Whenever working on your car, safety is the most important thing that you have to take care of. So make sure you chock your wheels and place your jack stands in the unibody construction portion where you have the double weld, which is designed to support your car's weight on a jack stand. Since I'm not removing the driver's side wheel, I'll also place that ramp there just in case, just as an extra catch. Go ahead and lower your jack and make sure that your jack stands are well placed, and go up to the car and give it a few bumps and moves. You're gonna be moving the car quite a bit. Make sure those jack stands are grabbed right. One thing to note is to make sure to loosen the lug nuts before you raise the car. Now, I have an impact wrench, so this will work just as well as if I would have loosened the lug nuts on the ground. Let's take the hubcap off so we don't break it. Now, see, the rust is built up, so we're gonna have to go ahead and give it a mule kick or something. There you go. Just enough to break it. Wheels off. Now that we're underneath the 2014 Honda Civic, we need to remove multiple splash shields. Don't just remove the metal splash shields that you're used to when performing an oil change or dropping the transmission fluid. This job involves removing the front center lower engine splash shield, which houses the metal oil drain splash shield that you're used to. You'll also need to remove the front engine splash shield. I recommend investing in a universal kit that has body bolts, also push pin retainers or fasteners, so that you can replace the ones you're going to break. You're inevitably going to break them, okay? You can also buy them from Honda, but they're just a bit more expensive. But I promise you, the bolts are going to break, the pins are going to break, especially with the age of the car and being in the Midwest. You should also invest in that forked tool to remove those clips. It's specially designed for that, but honestly, nothing really protects it from breaking. Oh, dang, that thing broke. That's what I'm talking about. Rust, guys, just broke. Here she comes. With the lower cover assembly removed, notice the 2 holes where the 10mm cover bolt part number 9011 SM4003 belong, and the rest of it was held primarily by the bumper clips, which most of them broke, and I've placed the part number there so that you can see them, ending in 003. Let's go underneath the Honda Civic and take a peek at the job ahead of us to help us decide how we should do this. You can quickly identify the manifold. That's that big plastic piece there that I'm pointing at. And under that is the starter, which has that trunk of cables with the green protector on it. We could come from the top by removing the manifold, but that's a lot of work. The suggested way to remove the starter is to remove the exhaust pipe, but the bolts look rusted and may break. The side looks good, and I don't think we really need to remove the mount or any other parts, so that's what I'm going to do. let's remove the front engine splash shield, which is held by 2 push-pin fasteners on each side behind the tires, and 2 10mm bolts on each end of the front lower portion of the car. In between those 10mm bolts are quite a few push-pin fasteners that will most likely break upon removal, so make sure to have spares. And here's a look at some broken fasteners and that shield completely taken off. All right, there are some of the connectors that I need to remove. All right, guys, the first one I noticed that I could take off easy is this guy right here. It will take some finagling. You're gonna get your thumb pushed down in the back and pull backward. Since I'm in position, the next thing that makes sense is to remove this black connector by sliding it backward from that metal pin. Now that I'm in the area, I'm gonna tackle this green connector. This guy goes up. So I put my nail underneath there like that. And just... Now we need to remove this metal shield that's on the transmission. It's held by 2 10mm bolts, one at the bottom and one at the top. You'll notice that the top one I'm going to go ahead and touch with my fingers here, and you only need to loosen that one just a bit. Don't take it all the way out. The one on the bottom you need to take out all the way so that you can slide the shield completely off. Now with the shield off, you'll notice we expose a gray connector that goes into the transmission. This is part of the branches that goes into that trunk of cables that goes into the starter. So you'll need to loosen this and take it out so that you have room to manipulate that starter. Let's now remove the intake manifold support bracket held by a single 12mm bolt on the block and 2 10mm bolts facing upward bolted to the manifold. Breaking loose these bolts is a bit challenging, and I was not able to catch it on camera for you. This is also a very tough spot and hard to see, so you may notice that I'm feeling around a bit to get oriented, ensuring that the socket is making contact with the fastener. If you found this video helpful so far, please do me a favor. Hit that like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and what you think I could do better. I love making these kind of videos to help you guys out, and it really encourages me to hear what you need out there. Also, if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. It really helps my channel, and it really helps me grow this community of DIYers. All right, guys, we're gonna go with a long extender, and we're gonna go right here. So you notice where this pulley is? You see this guy right here, the harmonic balancer, and then you've got this pulley right here. You're gonna go straight that way, okay? I want you to use a wobble head like that and put a number 14. And what you wanna do is catch the top of that starter. This is what we're looking for, okay? This is the top of the starter right here. There's a long bolt that extends up to out here. Okay, you're gonna get them right there. And because you got a wobbly, probably be able to put a ratchet on here. In order to maximize leverage, I figured it would be best to go out of under the car and come from the top down. And that's where I'm at. I'm in the engine bay, and if you don't see me, you got to look to the right of your screen, upper portion, and you'll see my hands getting ready to place a ratchet so that I have the leverage to break that upper starter bolt, which is really tight, and you're not going to get leverage on the bottom. Let's give you a quick look of what it looks like on top. There you go, on top of the engine bay. And now we're gonna go ahead and use our fingertips to keep taking that bolt off. Now let's try to remove the bottom bolt of the starter. All right, guys, so the only way to really fit my ratchet in there is I had to put an extension, got my 14 on there, and I have to go inside just like that. So from the back here, we're gonna have to get the leverage and pull down. So that's the only way to do that, and that's for the bottom bolt of the starter right there. Now that we've got the starter in this position, we can go ahead and put the top connector here. Get that guy push in and pull out. Next, we need to go ahead and undo this bolt right there. All right, you're gonna peel back the rubber right there. You're gonna get a number 12 socket, 12 millimeter. And if you need leverage, put the starter long portion right up against the pipe there and get yourself some leverage. And just like that, we'll get this cable off the way and the starter's out. 50% done, guys. Here's where he's gonna come out. Same spot where we were working on him. Just gotta turn him this way. Long bolt up, small bolt down. It's gonna come right there. Right there. All right, brand new remanufactured starter. 3-year warranty from the dealership. This is made from Honda, so I'm guessing they have a special company that remanufactures their stuff. And we're gonna get it back up there just the way we took it out. I'm gonna go in here just like this with the long end up. Just like that. In the hole, we could start connecting all the connectors. Okay guys, go ahead and position your starter motor just like that. And you can go ahead and start by placing this guy right on here. Okay, that guy's in. Peel the rubber back and go ahead and hang that connector on there just like that and screw it in. And it is a little challenging with this rubber. It gets in the way really bad. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the number 12 back on there and tighten them up. Okay guys, it's really important that you put this guy back on right and he makes a good seal, okay? So when you put him over, go ahead and give this guy a tug up here. See this guy? You give him a tug up and make sure that you see it clearly get into the groove that's designed there to grab this guy. It should go on both sides.
This may seem counterintuitive, but at this point, I suggest you place the top bolt that holds the starter in the starter hole, just like I've done here. And then you maneuver the starter in place. Trust me, you're gonna wish it was there. Unfortunately though, you're gonna have to do quite a bit of juggling to keep it there as you maneuver it in place. This is a point where you're going to wish you had a third hand or somebody else to come and help you and hold the starter in place. You have to juggle and maneuver the starter so that you can get the bottom bolt in and for it to take a bite of those threads. And what I mean by a bite is you start turning by hand and you can feel that the threads make contact. So make sure you do this by hand. You don't want to strip that housing. It's going to cost you a lot more money then.
This guy goes right here, like this, and they're good. There you go. We got this guy right here. He goes down into the trans, and I'll show you that here in a second.
I can't stress enough that you have to start those bolts by hand before you use any type of electric ratchet.
There she goes, guys. 33.4 pounds. One of the toughest things about this job is getting the right torque set. You gotta bolt those starter bolts to 33 foot-pounds, and you're basically gonna need a really long extension. So underneath the car, here you go. The extension is right there, past the brake line. This is the subframe we're passing. There's the axle, and there it is right there. And we do have a universal at the end because we need a little wiggle room. So it's the best I can do, and look, I got it torqued down. Now, in order to make sure you do this, you can't put that cable yet that goes right here, right there. You can't put that one back yet, okay? I'm gonna slide them in just like that. Good, satisfying click. That's there. And we're gonna position this cable right there. Now, there's a little tab here that is gonna connect to the metal that's gotta get bolted into here. All right, here he is. We're gonna go ahead and notice how one end is open. We're gonna slide that open end up. I don't think there's a torque setting here, but I'm just gonna make it tight. That's it. You'll notice I already clipped this guy on the top here. He's there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and bolt up this top one up here, and I can't hold this camera doing it, so stand by. One of the last things we have to do is put this bracket back up. You've got the two bolts right there and then the one on the bottom. You should have it all on a tray like that. And this is the last piece that we have to put on before we test the starter. Okay, guys, you gotta put the bracket in place. These two screws, hand tighten them so that the bracket moves up, and that'll help you line up this guy right here. And then you just hand tighten them. Okay, now we're gonna go down here. And my current state, I can't see anything. I'm doing everything by hand. My wife came out, she's looking. She's giving me an extra pair of eyes there. Oh, that's gonna be a 12 there, guys. These two are 10, that's a 12. I'm gonna get a 12. I can't see where I'm at. There you go. There you go. I gotta spin it to get them on there. Okay, that's good. Brackets on. We've installed the starter. We've done all the parts that we need to do. Now what we're gonna do is do a test start. So what I do here is now I'll put my negative cable back on, but I won't tighten it down just yet, just so that it makes contact. That should give it enough energy to give it a quick start and see if the starter is going to go. Now, before you try to start it, make sure that you don't have any tools that you may have left behind. This is the time to take a quick look. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and do the quick start now. We're going to go ahead and give it just a quick to see if it goes or if anything's broken. Oh, that started a lot quicker than I expected. Okay, we're gonna turn the engine off. We don't want it to get really hot. We know it started. After you've done your test start, jump back out and make sure to tighten up this guy with a 10mm right here. And now, all we've got left is all this plastic to put back in, but you saw how I took it off. It goes in just the same way. The reason why I'm not going to show you how this goes back on is because I don't know if I need to buy a bunch of new clips. I don't know how many are missing, but the same way it came out is the same way it goes on, and you should have extra clips before you start this job. So make sure to go buy some.